seeing monsters at your window. No, you can't sleep, you pretend though. You don't have to play the hero.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be the makeup tutorial for this evil chaos gremlin, Bakura from Yu-Gi-Oh! Note, I'm going to pronounce his name Bakura. It's different from the way that it's pronounced in the English dub. They usually call him Bakura, but in the Japanese version, which is the one I normally watch, they call him Bakura. Now, I'll take out the rolled R and just call him Bakura. That explains why throughout this video I will pronounce his name the way that I do. When I was a teenager, I was super into Yu-Gi-Oh! And then when I hit my 20s, I kind of fell off of it. And this past year, something just happened. I don't know if it was in the ether or the fact that they've been releasing a lot of the character figures, but I've been seeing a lot of new releases of character figures and things like that, and I decided, maybe I should watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Again. And I'm not sure if that was the best decision or the worst possible decision, because I am just as into it as I really was back in the day. So I decided that I was going to go ahead and remake my Bakura costume, because I made the costume back in 2004 and 2005 when I was still a teenager. And although I was really proud of my progress then, over the years I lost every single piece of that costume. Plus I've gotten more skills over time at sewing and such. So after not having a completed costume in maybe 5 years, I just went ahead and whipped up a brand new Bakura costume from Yu-Gi-Oh! Now there's a lot that I really love about this character. He's essentially a pretty boy who is a 3,000-year-old ancient Egyptian ghost of a tomb robber who is out for revenge. Love that for him. He's essentially a spirit who inhabits the Millennium Ring, which is one of the Millennium items in Yu-Gi-Oh! And he inhabits the body of Ryou Bakura, who is basically a very interesting pretty boy who loves to collect cursed and haunted things. Now, I love both characters, both himself and his evil Yami version. So if you follow this makeup tutorial, you could actually cosplay as both characters. But this one in particular, I wanted to look just a tad sinister, so it has more of a Yami Bakura focus. And when he goes into his evil mode, he of course gets adorable demon bunny ears. I can't explain why, and it is my pleasure to wear his perpetual stank face. All jokes aside, this past year has been incredibly difficult, and getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Is actually one of those things that has brought me the most joy. So I really hope that you enjoy this makeup tutorial. If you have plans on cosplaying from the series, let me know. I would love to see your costumes and the makeup that you do. Now let's jump right into the tutorial. Welcome back to another Halloween edition video. As always, I start with my face already primed with a layer of foundation added. I'm gonna go ahead and prime my eyes with an eye primer. Now with me, I cannot do an eye look without priming my eyes because my eyelids get sweaty and then everything comes off. So I highly recommend using an eyeshadow primer, or if you don't happen to have one, concealer sometimes works as well, but for me and my anatomy, eye primer is the best way to go. And then I'm gonna go ahead and conceal. The concealer that I'm using is the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the color 12S Fair. Now, of course, that's going to vary based on whatever your skin tone is. Now I'm going to apply just a dot underneath my eye because with concealer, less is more, as well as any spots that I would like to brighten up or spots that I would like to cover up, like blemishes. And to blend, I'm using a Real Technique sponge. Because I'm doing a look that's very heavy on the eyeshadow, it runs the risk of fallout. So to prevent fallout, I'm just going to add a layer of powder right on my cheekbones, and for that I'm using the MAC powder in the shade Invisible. It looks a little bit excessive right now, but I am going to dust off the excess when I'm all set. Note, I agonized over this look in particular. Before remaking this costume, I hadn't cosplayed a male character in probably over 10 years, so I had a really hard time with adapting how I wanted to do the makeup. When I was doing makeup tests, I tried to do like male type makeup or anime boy type of makeup, and nothing really stuck. When I tried to do like anime male type of makeup, it ended up looking glam on me, which is not quite what I want. So sometimes when that happens, what I do is instead of focusing on, hey, can I grab this gender and apply it to myself, I think, what mood do I want to create? And now Bakura is one of my favorite characters ever. I got back into Yu-Gi-Oh! This past year, and it has honestly been a blast. It's one of the really few things that has brought me genuine joy over the past year or so. For him, there are two facets of his character, but both of them have kind of a creepy sort of horror edge, so I wanted his eyes to look very intense and borderline creepy. And in order to accomplish that, I decided on going with a grayish, smoky look. Also, I started out with my contact lenses already in. Now, between the manga and the anime, Bakura has pretty much every eye color you can think of. So no matter what your natural eye color is, if you can actually see, then you're good. But what I decided to go with was the iconic anime style. So in the anime, he has brown eyes. And luckily, I have these beautiful contacts by Pinky Paradise. They're called Super Hazel if you wanted to go ahead and search for them. They are sort of an amber brown look, which I really like and I think matches his character very well. To start, I'm using the Stone Cold Fox palette by ColourPop. I love this palette because it gives you an array of neutral grayish colors. It works for me because I'm extremely pale, so warm colors tend to come off very orange on me, so the grayer it leans, usually the better it looks on me. I think it goes with this character really well because, again, he loves spooky things, so we're just gonna go with it. And to start, I'm going to mix the shades You Rock with Bold type, which are very gray toned browns. Now for this look, you can absolutely use the Stone Cold Fox palette, basically no matter what your personal skin color is. I think it has something for everybody. There's definitely some great deep tones if your skin's a little bit deeper, has some light tones if your skin is lighter like mine, and then everything in between, so if you're medium, you're good. But this is how I'm gonna start. I started with the lightest colors first. Now to blend this, I'm using the Sigma E40 blending brush. Now since this is a smoky look, I'm going to start by applying this from the base of the eyelid to about 3/4 of the way up into my eyebrow area. Now I'm going to apply some color to the bottom. For that, you can use a bigger blending brush like what I'm going to do, but if you needed a more subdued look, you can go with a smaller blending brush as well. However, I'm gonna go back in with my big brush for maximum blending. I'm gonna go back in with the shade Bold type and build more color close to the center of the eyelid. Really, the goal of this whole look is to start light the farther you are from your eye, and the closer you get to your eye, the deeper that the color is going to end up being. Now, if you're following along, don't be afraid to get a little bit dramatic with this. You'll notice that I'm blending way up past my brow, and I'm doing this because Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters are nothing if not extremely dramatic, and their eyes are extremely expressive as well. So why not express that with makeup? Now we're gonna start getting a little bit deeper. I'm going to dip into the color Cult Classic, which is, I would say, a medium to dark brown. I'm applying this color with the Bodyography Pro flat shader brush. I'm going to add this to the center of my eyelid and then blend it upward. Then I'm going back in with my Sigma E40 brush and blending that in. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the under part of my eyelids with the darker color as close as possible to the middle and then blending outward. And then we'll go ahead and blend that in again. Now before I get any further, I'm actually going to go in with a color in my waterline. The color that I'm going to use is the Marc Jacobs Pewter Please color. Now this is a slightly tawny gray pewter shade that is a little bit metallic, but you can use any color that really goes with this color scheme. You can use a black, you can use a brown, you can use a gray, or anything in between. Just really go with whatever works best for you. And now if you have sensitive eyelids like I happen to, you don't have to do this step, but I think it's something that adds that little bit more drama. You can already tell the difference, right? I do this step in the middle because I can blend in what's in my waterline with the darkest colors that we're about to add. Now the final color I'm going to use is going to be the deepest one. I'm going in with the deep brown shade called Drama Mama, and I'm just going to ever so slightly dip my same flat shader brush into the black shade Rock Bottom, just barely getting in there so that it's the darkest possible brown. I'm going to start closer to my eye, and as usual, I'm going to blend that up into the rest of the look. And then I'll blend that in again with my Sigma E40 brush. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my bottom lash, and in order to do that I'm going to switch brushes to the Sigma Flat Definer E15 brush, which is a little flat brush that can go right underneath the lash line. And again, I'm dipping into Drama Mama with a little bit of that black shade rock bottom. Note I'm only going in to the outer half of my eyelid. All right, we're getting spooky. Bakura would be so proud. Next, we're going to complete the look by doing eyeliner and going in with some lashes. Now these are the Cocoa lashes in the style Tease. As I mentioned before, when I was really trying to go for the this is a male character look, it wasn't working for me. So I just decided to say F it and use some fake lashes, because why not? The men of Yu-Gi-Oh! Have great lashes. Let's express that. Now because my eyes are rather small, I'm going to have to clip these lashes, so before I apply them, I'm going to apply some eyeliner. And in order to do that, I'm going to use the Glossier eyeliner in the shade Black. I'm going to create a cat eye wing, not too big, because I know that the lashes will definitely create the same drama. Now because his bottom lash is also really pronounced, I'm going to add a small wing to the bottom as well. Okay, so maybe that wasn't so small. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other eye. Now the line that I created there was very harsh, so I'm actually going to blend that in on the bottom a little bit with the shade Drama Mama. Now historically, waiting for lash glue to dry takes approximately forever. So as I let the glue dry, I'm going to do a couple of things with the lashes themselves. Now for the glue, I'm using the tried and true Duo Lash Glue, which you can find at any drugstore. And what I do is I take the tray and I apply just a line of glue to the tray itself. It can be a little sloppy. It's fine because we're just going to dip those lashes in. Now while we wait for that to dry, how's everybody doing? I know it's been really a rough bunch of years for everybody. So I just wanted to check in. If you wanted to just comment and say how you've been doing, whether or not that's good, you know, I understand. That's totally fine. Now I'm going to trim these lashes as best I can to suit my eye. Since the glue probably isn't perfectly tacky yet, I'm also going to go in with the first layer of mascara, and the mascara I'm using is the Butter London Double Decker Lashes Mascara. And this step helps to blend in your natural lashes with the fake ones that we're about to put on. If I'm extremely lucky and I've prayed to the right gods, this glue might be tacky enough to apply. I'm going to get started. Say a silent prayer for me. Now in order to apply lashes, I dip the lashes into the glue before applying them as close as I can to the lash line. Now if you're like me and you get the lash glue all over the place, no worries, I assure you it dries clear. The eyes are pretty much done. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dust off the powder that we originally applied to the cheeks. What this does is it takes care of fallout. And just to brighten up the cheekbones a little bit more, I'm going back in with my concealer and I'm adding a couple dots on the cheekbones just to brighten it up a tad. And if you got dark under eyes like me, don't even worry for this costume because Bakura probably does too. Now I'm going to move on to the brows. For brows, I'm going to use a brow pencil. It is the Precisely My Brow Pencil by Benefit in the shade Gray. Now this is kind of a dark gray look, and the reason why I don't go with a white or a silver color to match his hair is because I noticed over time that whenever I were to cosplay a white-haired or silver-haired character, if I were to do white eyebrows, it just disappears into my face. I'm very pale, so all it does is make me look like I have no eyebrows at all. So instead I'm gonna go in with a deeper gray shade. Luckily he has black eyebrows in season 0 of the show, so it's not that far off, but at the same time, sometimes you have to choose between what's accurate and what actually looks good on your face, so I'm gonna go with what looks good on my face. Now, I notice a lot of character cosplayers really knock it out of the park with their eyebrows. I feel like I can never really stand up to the quality that they represent. They always like do their eyebrows in a really specific way to mimic the characters, and sometimes they cover up their eyebrows. I have not done that. Perhaps I should, but instead what I do is I go in with the pencil and I just kind of create a generally flattering eyebrow shape. One funny thing I never noticed until I started filming these videos is that naturally one of my brows is higher than the other. I just roll with it. Now I'll move on to the rest of the face. Now, contouring and adding bronzer is absolutely optional. You don't have to go in, but I do like to give my face a slightly more chiseled look because I got a round little baby face, so I like to update that a bit. Now, Bakura is a very thin character, and I am a very thick person. So in order to sort of simulate the bone structure that I would assume that he would have outside of like an anime or manga illustration, I'm gonna go ahead and contour with some general bronzer. The bronzer that I'm going to go in with is the Benefit Hoola Bronzer. Now for male and male adjacent looks, instead of going in the apples of my cheek, which I would do with a lot of like female looks or an everyday sort of look, I like to trace just under the highest part of my cheekbone and do this sort of U shape. Instead of going like this, I go like that, if that makes sense. I also go in and I frame the entire face, including underneath my chin. For this, I'm using the ColourPop F13 brush. Now you also have the option to contour your nose. Now you absolutely don't have to do this, and this is something that I don't always like to do anymore, but a lot of anime characters have very chiseled noses, so I'm gonna go in and do just a little bit of nose contouring. I'm gonna go in with the same Hoola by Benefit bronzer. I'm gonna go in with the Morphe M572 brush, which is a flat brush. Then I'm gonna blend that in with an Eco Tools powder brush. And to top it off, I'm going to add a little bit more powder. This time I'm gonna go in with pressed powder. I really love the Studio Fix powder by MAC. It is actually my favorite powder overall. It's very thick, but if you use a brush like this one, then it should be able to distribute perfectly. The shade that I use is NC10, which at the point that I purchased this is the lightest color because I happen to be very pale, but of course, go with whatever color and undertone works best for you. Now you can highlight, but you don't necessarily have to because again, this is a male character, but I am gonna highlight because why not? The highlighter that I'm going to use is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Reezy highlighter. Now I'm only going to apply this to the far end of my cheekbones to keep it kind of subtle. Ha, subtle. That doesn't happen in Yu-Gi-Oh! Now I'm going to top off the makeup with a setting spray. I'm gonna go in with the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. Now that things are mostly dry, I'm gonna go back in with my mascara and I'm gonna coat the lashes just one more time to help them blend. I like to do this after I spray my face because sometimes if I have mascara on and then I spray my face, mascara gets everywhere. And we don't want that this late in the process. All right, the last part of the look is going to be the lips. Now what I'm going to do is something that I did with my Lady Maria look. I'll go ahead and link that video up above. And what I did there is very much inspired by Korean beauty. It's where the majority of the color is in the middle of the lips and then you blend up. Sometimes I will do the entire upper lip, which I think I'm going to do today, and then I'm gonna blend the bottom. But to start with that, I put concealer or foundation on my lips. Now because my skin and eyes are extremely sensitive, I do not apply concealer or foundation directly to my lips. Instead, I will put it on the back of my hand, which is clean, and apply it with a beauty blender. Now note this part is absolutely optional. You could throw on a lip gloss and be done, but I really like the drama for these types of characters. Now note you can use a lipstick that is a little bit more nude in whatever skin tone that you happen to have. The tone that I'm going in is, on me, is pretty medium brown. And the lipstick I'm using is the Dose of Colors Desert Suede lipstick. Now this is one that grew on me. I hated it the first time I used it. I had to put it on about 2 or 3 times before I realized, wait, this is perfect. And if Bakura looks a little bit dead, because this is a grayish shade, perfect. That's his goal as well as mine. Now I'm going to outline the entire upper lip and then blend the bottom out. For the bottom, I apply a little bit of color to the center and then blend. Now this is the finished look. It's going to be a more dramatic transformation as soon as I put on the wig. My goal for this look was to look a little bit sinister, a little bit mysterious, but also very pretty because truth be told, Bakura is an extremely pretty character. So I wanted to be pretty faithful to that here. Now this is going to look even more accurate with my wig, which I worked ever so hard on. I kept it looking pretty natural in the front, but then once you go to the back, oh, that's peak Yu-Gi-Oh! Look at all the spikies. I'm very excited and very proud of my little wig. Those little bunny ears, little demon horns, because he's a demon. He doesn't want to think he's cute, but he's adorable. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the wig on so that you can see the finished look with the wig. Now I'm going to pop on the costume, and then I'll see you in the finished look. Thank you so much for watching. I actually look forward to doing these Halloween looks every single year. So I hope that you found this either helpful or entertaining, either or. I know a lot of my audience doesn't cosplay and doesn't necessarily apply makeup, but if this helped you in any way, feel free to comment down below. I would really love to hear your thoughts. And subscribe for more similar content. My goal is to have at least one more makeup tutorial by the time Halloween comes up. Will I be able to do it? I'm gonna challenge myself. As always, I hope you have a good day or night wherever you are. Stay good to each other, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye. To start, I'm using the Stone Cold Fox palette by color. The Stone Cold palette by color. To start, I'm using. Back in just with the shade Bold Type and add more closer, why am I like this? Just a slight, I don't know. And I'm going in with a flat shader brush. This one's called the Bodyography. Now the highlighter that I'm gonna use is the Anastasia. We're spooky. Back to my channel. Today is going to be, what is today? Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be